Thank you. Hello and welcome to Wizard World Virtual Experiences. I'm Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics. We are streaming to you live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, bringing you that Comic-Con life to the comfort of your home with these incredible fan experience panels. You can always nab some private exclusive video chats and all that fun stuff with all the celebs that we have. Check those out at wizardworld.com. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do something very, very special. We're hanging out with the entire crew, really, from Immortal Studios, and we're going to hype up their newest Kickstarter campaign. It's about to jump off. So let's get into this one. A very special presentation, Wizard World Virtual Experiences of the Chronicle of the Immortal Swordsmen. Joining me today, first and foremost, we have from Immortal Studios, of course, the CEO and writer of this series, Peter Zhao. What up, Peter? What's going on, man? Yo,
I'm here.
I love it.
Huge day, huge weekend.
Absolutely. We also have our content editor and wrangler of creative folks, Emma Chibaloo. Hello.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. We also have series artist Gabe I knew I was going to mess this up. I had it and then I lost it. Sapienza. Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
Yay, you got it. There we go. I knew I was going to get it back. I was going to try to get that back. There we go.
You got it.
And of course we have,
thank you.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. And of course we have our Kickstarter guru, Mr. Charlie Stickney. What's going on, man?
How's it going? Good to see you all. Really excited to be here. Thanks so much for including all of us on this panel.
Absolutely.
So many incredible people.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least, one of the most prolific artists in the game, of course, variant cover artist for this particular series. Let's hear it for Bernard Chang. What's up?
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, Bernard.
So this is a monumental moment for you guys. This is your second Kickstarter jumping off, and it's a brand new series. Peter, tell me a little bit about Chronicle of the Immortal Swordsmen.
Well, as you know, we started with the idea we're going to build a whole storyverse around wuxia, and now we started with the Adept, which is more grounded. Now we're going into the high fantasy arm of the wuxia genre, known as the Immortal Hero subgenre. So we're going immortal. This was actually based on one of my favorite books growing up, written by my father. So it's personal. So I've never sat in the writer's seat before, just because I care so much about this story.
Right.
That I had this unique vision that I decided that I was going to attempt to write it. So this is also my first time in the writer's seat. It's been an extraordinary effort. Just look at this team that we have. It's been such a collaborative process. And I think of what I've been doing is kind of like a little bit of sampling.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're bringing back the original vibes that my dad created, which is amazing. You know, this amazing Immortal Swordsman world. We have the sorcery, we have the magic, we have the magical weapons, we have the cultivational journey. But it's like, so we have the ambient stuff, and we've come in here adding like the electronic beats, the break beats, you know, and to the foreground, some really, really unique modern voices, an edgier voice, a really cool way of entry, something for the modern psychology, and I think something for everybody right now. Like we're asking this question, like the world is pretty messed up right now. I want to be better. I know there's something deep inside that is better. So we're saying, hey, remember your hero. Iron Pondu's journey is everybody's journey. So we're really bringing all of these things together. And it's this crazy thing called Chronicles of the Immortal Swordsmen. You hear the name, you feel like you know it, but I bet you don't. That's why you should check it out.
I love that. Oh my God, that's fantastic. Now, in addition to, being the CEO, you're handling the writing duties, and the story basis from this comes from something familiar, literally to you. Like this is something that your dad wrote?
It's something that my dad wrote. I read it the first time, I think I was 6 years old. My dad is a writer. He's one of the wuxia greats. Mm-hmm. So I picked up this book and somehow I just never put it down. And it was just something that identified with me. It's actually, I've been traveling with it for like 30 years. It used to be set up at Lionsgate. It was being made into a game, and it was all over town. And then finally I said, forget it. I'm going to buy it back. I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to do it the way that we want to make it. And it all really just came together in the past year or so, because up until this point, I wasn't the writer. We were still looking to something for a different voice until everything clicked together. It's like, you know what? I know this. I'm just gonna try to.
You're just gonna tell the story.
I'm just going to try to tell the story. And, look, I've been supported by such amazing people along the way. And I just really, the credit goes really to my team and our group of collaborators. I'm just incredibly happy. And I think when you guys see some of the artwork that we're going to be showing for the first time today, hopefully you'll agree with us.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. Emma, from your end, how has this process of helping, foster this project, how has this been for you?
It's been pretty incredible. Me and Peter met in the East. I think that building this company and building this universe is an East-West experience. So, it was born somewhat in Asia, but now we're adapting it into modern day LA. And so we're fusing a lot of the ideas of the East with the West. So it's just a really unique opportunity to bring together two cultures, two philosophies, and two sets of art, even that you just saw there, like, the original cover. A lot of the artwork that Gabe has been doing has been inspired by the original Shensha, the Immortal cultivation fantasy. So, you'll hear more from him in a little bit, but that's been just the really unique opportunity for us.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Gabe, since we've been talking you up a little bit, let's bring you into it. How did you get involved with this project?
Well, I think I was originally, I think, recommended by my good friend Marcus Toe, who's a fellow studio mate, because we're both at Raid Studio in Toronto.
Love Raid.
And yeah, it's a great community. And it was a theme that really spoke to me. And I was kind of reading up on, the main character's journey. And part of the initial conversations I had with Peter and Emma, I was talking about how I was kind of feeling like I could tap into the protagonist's headspace a bit too. And so I guess like a confluence of things sort of led to me being here, and it's been a blast so far.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Peter, can you tell us a little bit more about this main character and the world that they exist in?
Well, the world they exist in is very much like our world today. Mm-hmm. The main character, his name is Phil Dew. In the gaming world, he's known as Iron Pandu. So he's like a guy like many of us. He's always felt something amazing inside of him. He felt like he's called to do things that are meaningful, fulfilling, of service. But his daily life, he's a mess. He's disconnected, he's disorganized, he's in debt. Mm-hmm. So he's having a lot of real problems. And he's really not sure whether these internal voices are real. And in this first issue, we find out it wasn't all in his head. And that there is a deeper calling. There is something that he's called to do. But what he's called to do and how he's going to get there is a little surprising. And this is where I want people to really dive in a little, because I think, and he's going to step into something we call the cultivation experience. What is cultivation? Well, let's just say he's got to really work for it. Mm-hmm. He's really got to, and he's got to dig in deep. And what makes this story also different from the regular Immortal stories is that we have actually woven in the world of esports and games. We've also woven in the modern psychology and technology. So it's not just like flying swords against flying staff. There's now flying swords against flying blank in the world of AI and technology. So let's just say that the simulation hypothesis, people who like the Matrix, well, there's a big sliver of that too.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So Bernard is as such a prolific illustrator, having like built up a huge career already. What did you want to bring to this project on the variant cover side?
Well, I mean, there's, again, like how Gabe and Peter have talked about, there's a lot of story elements. Mm-hmm. The initial challenge was to try to fit all of those story elements into a single, front cover. And then, I asked Peter, like, look, can we maybe do like a gatefold or a front and back? Mm-hmm. Just because there's a lot of things that we want to convey, that he wanted to convey, not only in the first issue, but also in the entire story itself. So it's also bringing about those images in a way that when you pick up the book itself and you flip it from the front and back, that also begins to tell the story and gives the reader a hint as to this immense universe that they're about to dive into.
I love it. I love it. The colors are immaculate. It's so graphically like enticing. Like you just can't help but like want to launch right into it and see what's on the inside.
Can I jump in a little bit and riff off of this discussion with
do it
with Bernard? Like one of the big aesthetics we're trying to capture in our whole company is this idea of the ancient future, because they sounded like oxymoronic. And we love this cover because we actually were talking to Bernard about a single cover. We're trying to fit it in. And then when he came back to us with something that was so expansive front and back, we were just blown away. And then when we saw that he was really building onto it, he was building the ancient future. It's very, very consistent with what this story is about. This duality. Can we actually marry these two worlds together? So it's actually a very, very meaningful cover, and we're so happy that Bernard came with that kind of gusto.
Of course. I expect nothing less than that from Bernard. This is what he does. So Charlie, when it comes to helping, manage Kickstarters, for this one, you're not actively a part of the creative team. Did that change?
He is though.
Oh, talk to me.
No, Charlie is the consulting editor, so he's actually.
Okay.
Look, he was the writer for the Adept, so he's incredibly important in building out the Immortal storyverse, and certainly leading the creative on the Adept, which I know you loved. So
I do so much.
So we had to bring him back in the loop, and so in as much as he wears many hats, but he plays a very intricate role in advising us on the creative, the expansion of the world building. And for me as a writer, as a first-time writer, he's been an incredible advisor and coach. So no, I got to take my hat off to him.
There it is.
Thank you. I think what Peter said, and early on when you were talking about it almost being like a video game developing thing, or if people have worked in the entertainment industry, almost like a writer's room, we handled the Adept a little bit like that too, where there's different voices working together to try to the sum of all the parts making a greater whole, and we did that a lot with the Adept. And so for me, it's great to sort of be on the other end of things, where I'm able to sort of provide a global perspective to Peter, which is I think was what he was doing on the Adept, and I can say, hey, having been playing in your sandbox, let me tell you some of the things I learned about your sandbox that, might help you, when you because I think sometimes as a writer, you lose perspective. So it's always good to have outside voices that you can work with. So and that's one of the things I've been able to lend. The other thing is like for people who back the Adept, who started the journey with us, that was our first, foray into this universe. And, as a person who's written a lot of fantasy, some other books, one of the tenets that I like to build my worlds upon is make them accessible to everyone. And the bigger you build your universe, the richer your mythology, your backstory, the more you have to be focused and say, this is how I'm going to make this enormous universe accessible to new readers. I want them to experience this world that I've spent years building in my head, but what's their endpoint? What can they say to me? Oh, I understand that, and now I want to learn about everything else. So with the Adept, it was something that was very grounded. So part of my other role is to make sure that this, expansion of the universe of the Adept, and as Peter said, this is almost leveling up. We're dealing with more cosmic beings, more powerful beings. Still feels like it's connected to the Adept universe. For a lot of people, was like their first taste of this genre. And so, it's like, hey, you got a taste, you're coming back for more. Well, let me tell you what else we have in store. And so now we're slowly peeling back the curtain to show you, more layers of this world that, Peter has spent, and his father spent, and a lot of people spent a lifetime building. So there's this enormous universe. And so part of my job, like I said, is to make sure there's a transition from the Adept to the world that Peter is building. That's not to say we're not doing more Adept stories. Like that's its own ongoing thing.
I needed to hear that. I'm not gonna lie, man. I needed to know that was coming back. I was
right. But like it's this ambitious thing that we're undertaking,
right.
And it's to build. We're building a universe, and so while I'm working on the universe of the Adept, Peter's taking the next step. We just want to make sure that they're linked together, and that's one of the things that I'm doing, and making sure that people who backed the Kickstarter for the Adept understand that this is an extension. This is an enhancement of, of the groundwork we've already laid.
Of course. Emma, can you add to that at all in terms of from your position as a editor, a content creator, about building that universe?
Well, yeah, Phil, our lead character of CIS, our Chronicles of the Immortal Swordsmen, he lives not too far away from Amy. So I think that what we'll start to see are a lot of the different characters starting to converge somewhere in the future. So keep an eye out for some Easter eggs in the comic.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's always the best.
If you Adept, then you'll like CIS.
Okay. That's very exciting. Gabe, when it comes to the process of this, now, obviously, Peter has wisely surrounded himself with like some serious greats, you included. Did you have to kind of walk him through the writing process at all? Or did he come in ready to deliver, drawing ready scripts? Did he come in on point?
It's been more of like a collaborative process in that way.
Nice.
So we kind of, it's more like, I guess I get more of an outline, and then we sort of sit down, like usually on Mondays, we'll kind of hash out. In particular, we started on one specific sequence, and we sort of hashed out, okay, like what's the visual language that we're going to introduce to this sequence? Because there were some things that we sort of had to figure out together. But yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
Oh yeah. It's very Marvel method-y in its presentation. Nice. Peter, do you feel like that's a good, setup for you to learn even more about how to articulate what your vision is?
Absolutely. But look, like we said, we knew that we wanted deep collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And we got it. So in choosing different ways to go, keep in mind, this is my first time ever doing it. I never thought I'd be in this position. So the Marvel method of just really starting with the basic ideas and what you wanted to get across, and then really collaborate, because if you're using like film language, the fact that 2 or 3 people can be the cast, director, writer, producer, visual effects, editing is extraordinary. It's also too much power for one person. So bringing in different voices and looking at the different candidates, I knew we found the right person in Gabe, because he was ambitious. He really, really wanted to do good work, and he was willing to really push the envelopes. And I think he has this ethereal, because we're not just going for the fantasy action elements, because to me, that's almost easy. Those are the kind of the no-brainers. But what can you do on top of that? Can you bring an interesting vibe? Can you bring, an interesting thought process? Can you bring sophisticated visuals? Can you have that level of depth and emotionality? So those are the things that when we spend and talk about and experiment with quite a bit. And there are a lot of unsung heroes in our team. And I would say that Emma is also a very, very true creative collaborator. She's so it's really working in tandem as this group. And we love that process. We love that process because the collaboration is really what it's all about. And people are constantly bringing new elements to it. It's like when we saw the UCLA, I'm a Bruin, by the way. So when Bernard decided to put a UCLA t-shirt on Phil Do, we're like, then Emma starts to say, hey, he could be going to UCLA. And then there's this thing where him not paying his debts and his parents. Next thing you know is like through this kind of collaboration, like things are gelling. And
that's right.
And that's what's really lovely about it. So it's just like me holding space, and then we're just collaborating together. And we want to keep doing this.
That's great.
I think that's something that's also unique about comics. It's one of the only art forms where if you're like comparing it to film or television, it's really easy to go back and make the dialogue match exactly what you need from the art, from the shot. And there's so many directors that would be like, they can try to do a little bit on the back of someone's head with ADR, but if they could actually just change the lines now to fit the actual shot that they got. I think when you have the time to do that, to be able to say, okay, here's my vision for the scene, the artist draws it, and then you look at that and say, what's the best dialogue this was my first attempt, but now that I see what they draw, I don't need this line, or maybe I should have this line. And so you can, that collaborative process, if you have the time, is really the way to make great comics.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Bernard, did you add the UCLA because of Peter in his attachment, or did you just happen to do this?
There's some research involved, whenever you work with people.
Of course.
Got to make sure do your proper homework. So.
There you go.
I never asked you about that, but I never told Bernard that he actually fleshed out an entire part of the story that's turning out really good. Amazing. Because now his problem with his parents, Phil Du with his Chinese American parents who are like tiger parents, want him to succeed, but he's actually not doing that well. Like all of that just kind of fixed itself. And it's because you put that on a shirt and then Emma said, wow, there's the boom, 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 boom. And that was, so that's amazing. I didn't know that you put it intentionally. And you did it.
It's all intentional, man. All art. Man. That's how you get it. I love it. I love it. So going back to your process, Gabe, for the pages that we're seeing here, let's walk through this. So you predominantly work digitally or traditionally?
Digitally. Sometimes, I'll sketch a loose idea, like in my sketchbook with a pen or whatever, but predominantly digital because ultimately I find in this day and age, like some of the changes that come in are just a lot quicker to tackle digitally.
Right.
And also there's a certain level of like you can get pretty adventurous with how you experiment digitally, even if you're, I don't know, messing with palettes, dropping in photos. Like it depends on what your process is. But yeah, digital seems to suit my workflow for the most part.
I love it. I love it. And it clearly has like a very urban feel to it in terms of the locations and things like that. Are you a fan of drawing the buildings? I mean, I get it that you have to, but are you a fan of it?
I'm growing to love architecture.
It's one of those things, man. You're like, oh, more buildings. I love it.
He's gotten a crash course into LA.
Nice.
I'll say this much though, like because of the kind of vibe I've noticed with a lot of the LA reference I've been getting, like in it being kind of this hazy sort of environment, like I've been able to, and you won't see it in these versions, but there's almost like they have like sort of this monolithic presence, the buildings, and they're kind of like sitting on some haze. So it has like this like they're sort of like bathing in a neon glow. Like they take on more presence than, just like architectural drawings in perspective. But yeah, so I tried to give them a personality of their own, especially in moments like where the character's in a specific headspace. Yeah.
I love it. Bernard is definitely giving us the LA tour right now. This is so real. The color scheme of it really makes it feel very, Batman Beyond-ish. And is that like a tone for the whole thing to kind of have this, very hip, very cool, very techno-minded characterization? Bernard is killing me. We made it.
I hope I get 5 stars after this session.
Drive to Chinatown. Drive to Chinatown and show people.
Well, I'm right by Staples Center, but I got it a couple blocks up. This is 11th, 12th Street. Let me turn around. So
so was that a question for me, Victor?
Sure.
Yeah.
Color-wise, did that?
Well, yeah, based on like a lot of the influences we were discussing early on, I think that's kind of one of the futuristic factors we're bringing into the palettes, just to give it that modern edge. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. We actually got a question coming in. Audi Crash said, I backed the Adept and loved it. Excited for CIS and was curious when part 2 of the Adept will be out. So that's another one of those push questions. Is there a timeline for when the Adept will be brought back in?
Do you want to do that, Charlie? Or?
Well, I mean, hopefully, shortly after this campaign finishes and we fulfill, we'll be launching the Adept right after that. Like that's, the ideal timeline. That's what we're looking at. Nice. Obviously, there'll be some factors, but I could see by this summer, I would like to think that the Adept number 2 will be on its way to people.
Perfect.
Does that sound about right to you, Peter?
I don't wanna... just to all the Adept fans, because I'm getting it up the yin yang everywhere I go. Where's the Adept? Where's the Adept? So we hear you, everybody. All right, we're just trying to. We take this incredibly seriously. Just let me tell you that, because I've seen the work that's going into it, that we're all putting into that. It'll be worth the wait. Okay.
Nice.
It'll be worth the wait.
Nice.
And it's also, I mean, I think that's when you do something that people love, you want to make sure that what you continue to give them that will live up to those expectations. We want to make sure that we not only do we live up to those, that we exceed those expectations. So we're having lots of discussions to make sure it's just right. So it's not a question of if it's happening, it's just when it's happening, and the when is as soon as we get it exactly right, so people will be happy with it. It's something that we're actively working on. It's not something that like at some point we'll get. No, it's something we just want to make sure is perfect for people.
But let me just throw something out for the fans of the Adept. If you guys want something to chew on right now, go to my Facebook page, Peter Shao. Look at the most recent post and check out the takedown move by Amy.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
Go and check that out, okay? Because it's gonna make you very happy.
Nice, very, very nice. We got a question asking about more exploration into the wuxia content. Will there be comics about cultivation or things with fantasy beasts?
Fantasy beasts, definitely. Look, Iron Pondu is on the cultivation journey, so this is a cultivation story. In fact, his road onto cultivation, and including some really amazing shots of cultivation I bet you've never seen in comics before. So we're bringing real cultivation to the cultivation story. So you got to check out this first one. And the beasts, it's a really large Immortal universe world. There's also the gaming world. So I would say whatever you can imagine, you probably will see in the Chronicles of the Immortal Swordsmen as the story takes root.
Nice.
Because it's all there.
Very, very nice. Okay, so Bernard, I want to go back to, you had a backdrop of two figures in black and white, and it seems as though the one that's on the left is Phil, but the character on the right, I don't know if that's spoiler, if Peter's going to let us talk about this, but who is that guy? Yes, that one right there.
You gotta I can't spill the beans. I mean,
yeah.
Whatever.
Is that snitching, Peter? Tell me now. I'll retract the question.
Let's just say, remember, duality is going to be a big theme. In the ancient future is a theme. So who is he?
Okay.
Looks like an Immortal Swordsman to me.
He does. I was wondering if we were going to get a little
swordsman.
Okay. I got you. There were two characters that I know we have some artwork for that, Peter, I think you were going to explain a little bit more about who they are. Sure. Into the greater scheme of things.
So let's start with Yang Cheng, aka Piercer. He's known as Piercer because of the amazing weapons he's actually able to project with his fingers. So part as an homage to what the genre is. He's an OG Immortal, came from the old country, but let's just say he found a new mentor and he's found a new patron and he's getting new skills that used to take thousands of years to earn. Now you can get it at the drop of a dime. So he's found big pharma. He's found new skills, and he's going to be. So when he runs into Lady Wu, another OG from the old country, she is like the OG goddess. She's incredibly powerful, but in the old school ways. And in the first encounter, she thought, I know this Piercer dude. I'm going to take him down. And then she realizes that people are like, there's some stuff going on, and that she is up against something that is totally unfamiliar. So that's how we're going to open Chronicles of the Immortal Swordsmen, when these two OG Immortals encounter each other in Hollywood at the Griffith Observatory. And then be a lot bigger that these OG Immortals are tapping into, and that this tipping of power is starting to happen.
That's awesome.
And these two characters are kind of embodying this theme that will take the whole series to really break out.
I love it. Now, I know the launch page is up. It's available. People can sign up for it right now. Can we get any hints to what sort of rewards people would be able to nab once this launches on Monday?
Ooh, we've got so many different things. We have great postcards. We have a lot of collectibles. We have sit downs. We have, look, just go and check it out. Okay. Go and
I
check
think
it out.
one thing that's important for anyone who's listening to this show is there are going to be some early bird specials for the first day or two of the campaign, and some of the rewards are limited, so those might go quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening to this and this seems like something that you're really into, I would sign up, hit that link, sign up to make sure you're notified, and then go day one.
Nice.
And in general, that's always the best way to support a Kickstarter campaign. If you can go early, it helps whatever creative team that you're with. But with this one, because we had a big Kickstarter with the Adept, I'm sure we're going to have a good first day. The important thing is if you want to get some of those deals, you should come day one, because other people are going to be snatching them up. So try to get there early.
Go.
In fact, Charlie, when I tried to sign on to your thing, all the goodies were sold out like 3 hours into it, right?
Wow.
It's like if you have a popular campaign, every now and then, you catch lightning in a bottle like we did with the Adept. And I think, we're going to see that again. That bottle's big enough to have a little more lightning in it for Swordsmen. So really get there early.
Speaking to our fans, if you guys like what we are doing, consider this a personal invitation to join us when the campaign opens, Monday morning, bright and early. We would really appreciate it. As you know, with everything related to these platforms, the algorithms are very, very important. So if you're a diehard fan, please come early and come often.
Well said. Well said. I love it. I love it. We do have another question in terms of the output channels of your Kickstarters and your publishing campaigns. The question is framed as though there's only a balance between the Adept and CIS, but there are other stories that could be fitting within there. Correct? You have more Storyverse titles on the horizon.
We're absolutely. Keep in mind, we have a library right now of 63 titles that would take us quite a time to get to, but our overall cadence this year, we expect to have 5 titles, inclusive of Chronicles of the Immortal, Swordsmen, and the Adept. So this year alone, we have 3 other titles we are going to put into production. So that means there's 5, and then a minimum of 5 coming next year. So there's a lot of content coming your way. But you're helping us build that foundation right now. And it's really brick by brick. So we're being very intentional.
Of course. We are winding down on our time, so I want to give everybody an opportunity to say where folks can find you on social media. Give one more push to the Kickstarter launch page. So, Peter, first, where can everyone find out all the information about Immortal Studios?
Please come to our website at immortal-studios.com. It's going to have all of our social handles and everything you need to know. And please add yourself to our waitlist for Kickstarter. That's on the screen right now.
Of course. Gabe, what about you?
Where people can find my stuff?
Yes.
So I have some stuff on, the only handle I remember is at gabe.sapienza, which is my Instagram handle. And if you Google me, you can find my art station and my website. But Instagram's what I remember.
There we go. Emma, do you want to share yours? Where people can...
My handle is just at Emma Chibulu on Instagram, but I haven't checked in a while, so I'll promise to do that.
You got like all kinds of friend requests just waiting.
Oh, possibly, but yours has been accepted, Victor. For sure.
Thank you.
I think that our Immortal handle is generally Immortal Global. If you search for that, you'll find us on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram.
Excellent. Bernard, what about you, sir? He's still driving.
Well, if I pick you up, it's Lyft. I'm almost done with my shift here.
You guys don't have Uber in LA? What?
Well, there is Uber, but I'm strictly with Lyft.
Oh, you're strictly Lyft. Okay, all right. Way to pick sides. The pink works though.
Thank you. Just Instagram, the Bernard Chang.
Excellent. Charlie?
Probably the easiest place to find me is on Twitter at Charles Stickney. Charlie Stickney was taken, and I didn't want to fight someone for it. So
I'll fight him for you. I got you.
I appreciate that. I am thinking about gathering an army just to take that handle back, but that's where you can find me, and I'm usually pretty good at communicating with people on anything comic related.
Awesome. We'll put a few Wuxia heroes on that task as well.
Boom! There you go. That's what I'm talking about. We'll get it back. We'll make it happen. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I cannot wait for this campaign. I'm actively going to be like watching as the clock ticks to its launch. I'm going to try to be within like the first 10 people to pledge to this one. This is my goal here. Again, we should have a link for the launch page. Definitely sign up for it. Chronicles of the Immortal Swordsmen is going to drop. The artwork looks fantastic. You guys did like such a phenomenal job, and I've been dying to see this book since that sneak peek of Phil sitting on that beam. So, I cannot wait. This is going to be a great campaign, and I wish you guys the best of luck. And to all the readers out there, you guys are so lucky. Y'all don't even know. This is going to be good stuff. I do want to thank Wizard World for bringing us together. If you are a fan watching live right now, definitely make sure that you sign up. If you're watching later on and the campaign has already started, still sign up for the Kickstarter, because you never know what kind of goodies are going to be in there. And if you're looking for all the fun celeb stuff, please check out wizardworld.com. We've got paid exclusive experiences, virtual video chats, autographs, all kinds of wonderful things, lots of merch from artists. We have all kinds of cool things. In fact, you can catch issues of the Adept through the wizardworldvault.com link. So please check those out. And we will see you guys next time. I'll see you guys on Monday when the Kickstarter launches. I'm pledging early. You guys better catch it.
Come often.
That's right.